I need some actual furniture back here. This reminds me of the grapes I used to record in front of. You're too busy to not own any Bitcoin. If you fall into one of these buckets where you're outsourcing your financial management to a financial advisor, or if you're just kind of only consuming like CNBC and Fox Business, you're DIYing it yourself because you listen to CNBC and Fox Business, you're missing too much about Bitcoin. You're too busy and you're listening to people that are not dialed in on actually where Bitcoin can go in your portfolio. And since you're here on YouTube, you're also then, you're probably like, I'm trying to like get the alternative takes on it. And then you're getting kind of fed like cryptocurrency news channels, which are not bad. I like a lot of the cryptocurrency news channels. They're not bad, but they're not giving you the specifics on Bitcoin as well as they could from like what is the purpose of owning it and where should it go like in your portfolio perspective, okay? Because they're just feeding you lots of ticker symbols. They're just feeding you crypto ticker symbols. So if you're watching, here's the person I'm talking to. Say you watch Fox Business and you watch CNBC and you think the economy is constantly always in trouble, right? And then you listen to crypto YouTube because it's supposed to be the solution for everything or whatever, and you're just fed a lot of different ticker symbols, right? And so you can't differentiate the difference between Bitcoin and other crypto, and you're just fed a lot of ticker symbols. And then you're still dealing with the hangover of like FTX and like a lot of the exchanges that went bust and like all that stuff, right? And so you're like, I'm gonna keep it safe by just doing bonds and just like doing the S&P 500 and just like keeping it safe and simple, right? That's the person I'm talking to, okay? Bitcoin is the new safe and simple. Bitcoin is the new safe and simple. Now, before you just like turn it off and mute it or whatever, like, well, what about the volatility? What about the volatility? Yeah, let's talk about the volatility. Because you're right, that is the hang up. That's the exact hang up. And that's where both sides are talking past each other. Because you have new evolving consensus that Bitcoin is the new safe hurdle rate. And you have kind of the legacy mindset that like the volatility is too much, Bitcoin and all crypto is the same, and we're still gonna like wait and see, okay? Those are the two things that keep talking past each other, and the cable networks are not helping, and the crypto news channels are not helping, okay? So I'm here to help, all right? My name is Brian, talked to thousands and thousands of Bitcoiners. I've been watching Bitcoin YouTube since 2015. I've been investing in Bitcoin personally since 2015. I worked for several Bitcoin startups. I've spoken at the Bitcoin conference. I've talked about this and I've really wrestled with this from lots of different angles. Just got done working with a financial advisor for about 9 months because I wanted to feel what it was like to work with a financial advisor. Nice guy, like understands Bitcoin. It was good. It just didn't fit my exact desire to like DIY my own like personal finances and investments. One of the problems with like hiring consultants of any kind is the ramp up period to get them lined up with your vision and exactly the way that you tick is like so hard. This happens with marketing consultants a lot. It's just, you can't get through that initial sticky patch of like getting them lined up with the way that you actually see your company and educating them on your actual niche and what your edge is. It just takes too long and it like burns money, and the consultant never feels like they're like actually helping, okay? So I completely understand wanting to like DIY your personal finances. But then it's like, okay, how do you consume your news and what information do you consume, right? And so for those people that are not getting the full story about Bitcoin from the cable networks and they're not getting the full story about Bitcoin from the crypto news channels, like why is there growing consensus that Bitcoin is the safe new hurdle rate, like the safe new, just like, yeah, just mainstream, call it blue chip if you want, I don't know, like whatever word you want to use, but it just like, it's not random. There's evolving consensus that it is a very big deal growing thing that has growth and has upside, but is also very stable at the same time. So then why is it so volatile? It's so volatile because it's unlike anything else in the world, period. It's unlike any other asset in the world, period, for one reason. There's no public founder. There's no public founder, and there's no ability to issue new shares to dilute the current shareholders. Currencies all have this. The United States dollar has a public founder. The United States dollar has a public federal board of governors, right? That they can issue new shares of dollars, decide the dollar monetary policy, okay? Companies all have public founders. They can issue new shares, water down the existing shareholders, or if they miss earnings, then this creates differences in the valuation, right? Commodities, if the price begins to run, what happens? New suppliers enter, adding more supply, pulling prices back. Crypto, every other crypto has public founders and has varying degrees of where the supply is messed with for different reasons at different times, okay? Bitcoin is the only thing in the world that it has a credibly fixed supply. That's what creates the volatility around it. It just has a credible fixed supply and a fixed issuance rate, and everything else in the world is having to orient itself around it. That's why major Bitcoin bulls are saying that it can replace fiat money, because it's better. It's better. What is the purpose of money? To preserve your optionality and to solve the coincidence of wants. A fixed monetary policy, open source money that we don't have to constantly be checking in on what are the decision makers going to do is better for that. So there's a whole technology like growth play on that, but then there's also the stability play of like it can't change. It just sits there and continues to do the same thing with all these competing interests from all around the world. It just sits there, continues to do the same thing. That's why it's safe and stable. And that's the story that the cable networks aren't saying and the crypto news channels aren't saying. That's the thesis that you have to get dialed in and understand. If you want the edge on Bitcoin, that's the thesis that you have to get dialed in and understand.